Teotihuacan is an ancient Mesoamerican city located about 30 miles or 50 kilometers northeast of modern-day Mexico City. It was one of the largest and most influential cities in pre-Columbian America, reaching its peak between 100 BCE and 650 CE. The city is famous for its massive pyramids, particularly the Pyramid of the Sun, the Pyramid of the Moon, and the Temple of the Feathered Serpent Quetzalcoatl. Teotihuacan's layout is highly organized, featuring the Avenue of the Dead, a central road running through the city, and a complex network of residential, religious, and administrative buildings. The city's builders remain somewhat mysterious, but it influenced later civilizations like the Aztecs, who revered it as a sacred place despite its eventual decline. Teotihuacan remains a major archaeological and tourist site, offering insights into Mesoamerican urban planning, religion, and culture. History, origins, and early development. The origins of Teotihuacan remain uncertain, but evidence suggests it began as a small settlement around 400 BC in the Valley of Mexico. Over time, it grew into a major urban center, possibly due to its strategic location along trade routes and access to fertile land. By 100 CE, the city had begun its rapid expansion, with large-scale construction of pyramids, temples, and residential complexes. Peak and Golden Age. Between 100 and 550 CE, Teotihuacan became one of the most powerful and populous cities in the world, with an estimated 100,000 to 200,000 inhabitants. During this time, the city saw massive urban planning, a carefully designed layout, including the famous Avenue of the Dead, aligned with astronomical events. Monumental architecture. The construction of the Pyramid of the Sun, Pyramid of the Moon, and Temple of the Feathered Serpent. Cultural influence, Teotihuacan's art, religion, and trade networks extended throughout Mesoamerica. Mysterious decline. Around 550 to 650, Teotihuacan began to decline. The exact cause is still debated, but theories include internal unrest. Evidence suggests possible social upheaval or civil war, as parts of the city, including elite structures, were burned and destroyed. Environmental factors, climate change, prolonged droughts, or resource depletion may have weakened agriculture and the economy. Spanish discovery and early accounts. When the Spanish arrived in the Valley of Mexico, they heard stories from the Aztecs about Teotihuacan. The Aztecs believed that the gods had created the universe there, and they associated the pyramids with their own mythology. Spanish chroniclers, such as Bernardino de Sahagun, recorded indigenous accounts of Teotihuacan, helping to preserve some of its historical significance. Christianization and religious influence. The Spanish often sought to replace indigenous religious sites with Christian symbols. While there is no record of a major church being built directly over Teotihuacan's pyramids, Christian missionaries may have used the site for religious conversion efforts, incorporating native beliefs into Catholic practices. During the colonial period, Teotihuacan was not seen as an important site for preservation. Instead, its ruins were often used as a source of building materials for Spanish construction projects. Stones from the pyramids and temples were taken and reused in churches, haciendas, and roads in the surrounding areas. rediscovery, and early interest in archaeology. By the late colonial period in early 1800s, European scholars and Mexican intellectuals began to take a greater interest in ancient ruins. Explorers and historians started documenting Teotihuacan structures, recognizing its importance as an ancient city. However, large-scale excavation and preservation efforts did not begin until after Mexico's independence in 1821. Today, it is one of the most significant archaeological sites in the world and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Conclusion. During the colonial era, Teotihuacan was largely neglected and exploited for resources, but it remained an important part of indigenous heritage. Its rediscovery in the late 18th century helped spark greater interest in Mexico's pre-Hispanic past, laying the foundation for later archaeological work in the 19th and 20th centuries.